I stand before my parents, frozen in place as my father's face turns a dangerous shade of crimson. My laptop sits open on the mahogany dining table, the ArtNest website mock-up glowing between us like evidence at a trial. The china rattles as his fist crashes down, sending ripples through my mother's untouched tea. "What is this nonsense?" he demands, voice cutting through the room. "All these years of preparation, the connections I've pulled for you at Princeton, and this is how you repay us?" I swallow hard, acutely aware of Olivia's perfect posture beside me. Tonight was supposed to be about celebrating her acceptance to Yale Medical School's advanced placement program. The champagne sits forgotten, bubbles slowly dying in crystal flutes that cost more than my first coding course. "It's not nonsense," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. "ArtNest will connect artisans directly with high-end retailers. I've already coded the prototype and—" "Enough!" Father's hand slices through the air. His voice drops to that terrifying quiet that always precedes his worst anger. "If you won't follow the plan we've made for your future, you can't live under this roof. It's that simple." Mother gasps softly, but doesn't contradict him. She never does. 3 weeks ago, I sat in the back row of the auditorium while Olivia delivered her valedictorian speech. My laptop balanced on my knees as I frantically tried to finish a coding deadline hidden beneath the graduation program. Father had confiscated my computer that morning, returning it only after I begged, promising to focus entirely on Olivia's moment. "Your sister worked for this," he'd whispered harshly. "The least you can do is pretend to care." Later at dinner, I'd tried explaining my business concept for the first time. Mother had patted my hand with a condescending smile. "Honey, playing on the computer isn't a career plan." Father hadn't even looked up from his phone. "When you're done with this phase, we'll discuss your college applications again." Now, standing in our dining room with the future I've actually chosen displayed on screen, I see nothing but disappointment reflected in their eyes. I turn without another word and walk upstairs to my bedroom. Instead of arguing, I pull 3 suitcases from the closet and begin methodically packing my belongings. My hands move with surprising calm as I fold clothes, collect toiletries, and carefully wrap the framed photo of my grandmother, the only person who ever believed I could forge my own path. The business plan Father had thrown back at me earlier sits crumpled on my desk. I smooth it out, folding it carefully before tucking it into my laptop case. Mother appears in the doorway, her face a perfect mask of maternal concern that doesn't reach her eyes. "Chloe, darling, you're overreacting." Her voice wavers just enough to sound authentic. "You're throwing away everything we've built for you, a foundation for success." I continue packing, saying nothing as I open my desk drawer and withdraw the envelope containing my savings. $3,200 birthday money, Christmas checks, and earnings from freelance website work I'd done under a pseudonym. My hands stop trembling as I secure the cash in my inner jacket pocket. "Gerald!" Mother calls down the hallway. "She's actually packing." She doesn't wait for his response before pulling out her phone, hitting the speed dial. I know exactly who she's calling. "Olivia, your sister is having another episode," she says, putting the phone on speaker so I can hear my perfect sister's response. "Put her on," Olivia sighs, sounding tired of my dramatics from 3 states away. "Chloe." My sister's voice rings through the speaker. "This rebellious phase needs to end. You have responsibilities to this family. Do you have any idea how this behavior reflects on all of us?" I zip the final suitcase closed, suddenly seeing with perfect clarity what I've always been to them, an investment that failed to appreciate as expected. My worth measured solely by academic prestige and the right connections. Nothing more. "I'll send you my new address when I have one," I tell them, rolling my suitcases toward the door. The weight of complete isolation without their support network settles heavily on my shoulders, but for the first time in 20 years, I stand completely straight beneath it. 2 weeks later, I stare at my father's email until the words blur. The message, sent to every business contact in his extensive network, burns into my retinas. My daughter Chloe has chosen to pursue an ill-advised venture against our counsel. To help her learn responsibility, please refrain from offering assistance. This temporary lesson in consequences will ultimately benefit her future. My knees give out. The worn carpet of my 380 square foot Albuquerque studio catches my fall as reality settles in. This isn't just about refusing financial support, he's actively poisoning any well I might drink from. His influence stretches far beyond our Boulder Creek home, even into New Mexico's business community. A week later, I smoothed down my thrift store blazer in the bathroom of the Albuquerque Small Business Alliance mixer. The shoulders hang slightly loose, betraying its second-hand origins. I practice my pitch one last time before the mirror, then step into the conference room with carefully arranged confidence. Conversations pause as I enter. A man in a tailored charcoal suit glances my way, then leans toward his companion. "That's Gerald Morgan's daughter," he whispers, not quite quietly enough. "Got the email about her. Shame to see a young person making poor choices." I pretend not to hear, extending business cards to passing entrepreneurs who accept them with polite smiles that never reach their eyes. By evening's end, my stack of cards remains nearly untouched, while my inbox contains 0 new messages. The disappointments compound daily. Only 2 artisans sign up for ArtNest's beta program. Professor Harriman, my former computer science mentor who once praised my exceptional aptitude, now claims to have no availability when I request a coffee meeting. Yesterday, my apartment manager casually mentioned potential rent adjustments coming soon, while eyeing my secondhand furniture with barely concealed judgment. The bicycle accident happens on a Tuesday morning. Racing to a potential client meeting, I swerve to avoid a delivery truck and collide with a parked car. The world spins, then concrete rushes up to meet me. Pain explodes through my right side. No insurance? The ER intake nurse raises an eyebrow as I shake my head. She slides the clipboard back across the counter. "That'll be cash price then. Doctor sees you after you make a deposit." The final bill, $1,100 for 3 stitches above my eyebrow, X-rays showing no fractures, and a prescription I can't afford to fill. I hand over my debit card, watching my last $430 vanish, money earmarked for next month's website hosting and domain renewal. Back in my apartment, I sink to the floor surrounded by unpaid bills. My laptop, the lifeline to whatever future I'm fighting for, makes an ominous clicking sound when I power it up. The screen flickers twice before stabilizing. A stack of ramen packets teeters on the counter, dinner for the foreseeable future. My hands shake as I open them, counting 14 packets, 2 weeks of food if I eat once daily. Tears finally come, hot and furious. Not delicate movie tears that leave mascara artfully streaked. These are ugly, gasping sobs that echo off bare walls. I curl into myself, cradling the bruised ribs from my fall, rocking like a child. "This is what he wanted," I whisper to no one, "to break me." The Albuquerque Public Library hosts a free small business workshop the following Saturday. I arrive early, claiming a seat in the back row where my bruised face won't draw attention. The presenter, a gray-haired woman with kind eyes, distributes handouts on local funding opportunities. "Tell us about your business concept," she says, pointing to each participant in turn. When she reaches me, I clear my throat, surprised by how steady my voice sounds as I outline ArtNest's platform connecting artisans to retailers. She nods thoughtfully. "That's an elegant solution to a real market gap. You're thinking like a true entrepreneur." A true entrepreneur. 4 simple words that feel like oxygen after weeks of drowning. Later, as participants network over grocery store cookies and lukewarm coffee, I stand by the window watching the sunset paint the Sandia Mountains. Exhaustion settles into my bones, heavier than the backpack containing everything valuable I own. As I sat in that library workshop, exhausted and nearly broke, I wondered if I should swallow my pride and return home, or push forward alone with almost nothing left. Sometimes the hardest choice is between dignity and security. What would you do when the comfortable path requires surrendering your dreams? A month later, Father's face beams from the convention center stage, his perfectly tailored suit catching the spotlight as he addresses the Southwest Business Leadership Conference. I sink lower in my seat at the back of the hall, a baseball cap pulled low over my eyes. His words drift across the crowded room, each one a calculated barb. Success requires discipline and proper foundations. Anyone can claim entrepreneurship these days, even those without qualifications. His eyes scan the crowd, pausing briefly in my direction before continuing. My colleagues and I have a responsibility to uphold standards in our business community. The subtext is clear as crystal. I watch as he mingles afterward with alumni from his university program, deliberately steering conversations away whenever I approach. By evening's end, my phone vibrates with a cancellation message from tomorrow's investor meeting. "After further consideration, we don't believe your concept aligns with our portfolio." The pattern repeats when the local business association rejects my membership application 3 days later. The form letter cites concerns about business viability, though I'd provided the same documentation as every other applicant. I crumple the rejection notice, adding it to the growing pile of obstacles. Father's influence reaches further than I'd imagined. One morning brings fresh disaster when my laptop screen freezes, then goes black. The repair shop delivers the verdict without sugarcoating. Logic board failure. Repair costs more than replacement. The technician slides the estimate across the counter. Data recovery would be extra. My throat tightens as I calculate the impossible numbers. Without a laptop, I'm forced to rely on the public library computers, fighting for my allotted 90-minute sessions between job seekers and students. Nights become an endless mathematical equation. Lying on my secondhand mattress, I stare at water stains on the ceiling that resemble continents I'll never visit. I start arriving at the library when it opens, hauling stacks of business journals to a back table. If I can't afford market research software, I'll do it manually. Page by page, I document competitors' strategies, pricing models, and customer complaints. My hand cramps around the pencil as I build spreadsheets during my computer sessions, saving everything to a flash drive that never leaves my neck. One afternoon, I attend a free workshop at the community center, purely for the promised refreshments. The presenter drones about leveraging social media for small business, while I calculate how many granola bars I can discreetly tuck into my bag. When the Q&A begins, something ignites inside me. I raise my hand. Your strategies assume businesses already have an audience. What about those starting with nothing but a solution to a real problem? My voice comes out stronger than I expect. Artisans lose 30% of potential revenue to middlemen, but retailers struggle to find consistent, quality suppliers. That's the gap I'm addressing. The room falls silent. The presenter fumbles through a generic answer about building slowly, but a woman in the front row turns in her seat, studying me with sharp interest. After the session ends, she approaches while others file out. Her business card reads, Tessa Whitmore, founder and CEO, Supply Sync Solutions. That was the only intelligent question asked today. She gestures to my notebook. Show me what you're working on. I hesitate, then slide my business plan across the table. She reads quickly, making occasional notes in the margin. You're solving the right problem, she says finally. You just need to sell it to the right people. A week later, we meet at a coffee shop downtown. My redesigned business plan sits between us, the pages dog-eared from constant revisions. Tessa studies it, then looks up with unexpected intensity. Why are you doing this? Are you building this to prove your parents wrong, or to help artisans succeed? The question catches me off guard. I've never separated those motivations before. I started with the first reason. I admit, watching steam rise from my cup. I'm continuing for the second. Something shifts in her expression. That's what I needed to hear. She explains that my consumer-focused platform might work eventually, but B2B solutions have faster adoption rates and more sustainable revenue. Retailers need inventory systems more than artisans need websites. Pivot there. For the first time in months, hope feels tangible rather than theoretical. 2 days later, Tessa introduces me to Marco and Devin, developers from her network. They review my code over pizza in Tessa's office after hours. The foundation is solid, Marco says, pointing to sections I'd struggled with for weeks. We can help rebuild this as a retail management system instead. I can't afford to hire developers, I admit. Devin shrugs. We're not looking for cash. We'll take equity, 5% each. I blink, struggling to process their offer. These strangers are investing in my vision when my own family dismissed it without a second thought. They listen when I explain features, asking questions instead of offering dismissals. By our third meeting, I notice myself speaking differently head up, making eye contact instead of staring at my notes. Words like will replace might and could in my vocabulary. The next 2 months blur into endless coding sessions. I rewrite the platform from scratch, now focused on inventory tracking, point-of-sale integration, and shipping logistics. We work from Tessa's office after hours, fueled by coffee and the growing certainty that we're building something valuable. When Tessa mentions her connection at Timber & Terra, a regional chain of high-end home goods stores, my heart nearly stops. Their procurement director is looking for a better way to manage their artisan suppliers, she says casually. I might have mentioned your system. Now, sitting at my borrowed desk, I stare at the email draft addressed to Timber & Terra's procurement team. The pitch is polished, the demo link tested repeatedly. My fingers hover over the send button, trembling slightly. One click separates me from potential salvation or final defeat. Later, I stand before the bathroom mirror in my cramped studio apartment, the harsh fluorescent light casting shadows under my eyes. My reflection stares back, determined but exhausted. My name is Chloe Morgan, and ArtNest Systems will revolutionize your inventory management. I practice, forcing confidence into my voice. The words sound hollow on the first attempt. I clear my throat and try again, this time standing straighter, making direct eye contact with myself. The Timber and Terra meeting is tomorrow morning. Weeks of preparation have led to this moment. My laptop sits open on the bathroom counter, displaying the 43-page presentation I've created. Each slide anticipates a potential objection from their procurement team. I've spent weeks researching their current inventory system, an outdated platform costing them approximately $640,000 annually in inefficiencies. My solution would cut that by 38% in the first year alone. The numbers don't lie, even if my trembling hands suggest otherwise. Later that evening, my phone vibrates with an unknown number. I hesitate before answering. Miss Morgan? Robert Davis, CEO of Timber and Terra. His voice carries the practiced smoothness of someone accustomed to authority. I'd like to add myself to tomorrow's meeting. My stomach tightens. Of course, Mr. Davis. I look forward to presenting to you as well. Actually, I received an interesting call today from Gerald Morgan. Any relation? The air leaves my lungs. My father, of course. He's my father, I admit, fingers tightening around the phone. He suggested I should reconsider doing business with you. Quite forcefully, in fact. A pause. I've known Gerald for 20 years through the university board. So naturally, I'm now extremely curious to see what Gerald Morgan's daughter has created that has him so concerned. The call ends with me staring at my phone, heart pounding. My father's attempt to destroy this opportunity might have inadvertently created one. The next morning, I arrive 30 minutes early, reviewing my notes one final time in the lobby of their Boulder headquarters. The procurement director, a gray-haired woman with piercing eyes, greets me with a skeptical handshake. 4 other executives join us, including Robert Davis, whose calculating gaze follows me as I set up my presentation. You have 45 minutes, Miss Morgan? The procurement director says, checking her watch. I begin with their pain points: inventory discrepancies, shipping delays, lost revenue from stockouts. The procurement director's expression shifts from skepticism to mild interest when I demonstrate the cost savings. By slide 14, she's leaning forward, taking notes. This integration timeframe seems unrealistic, she challenges, pointing to my implementation schedule. I anticipated that concern, I respond, clicking to my contingency slides. Here's our phased approach with conservative timelines and built-in buffer periods. Robert Davis watches silently until I finish, then asks, why should we trust a startup with our entire inventory system? I meet his gaze directly. Because unlike established vendors, my company's survival depends entirely on your satisfaction. You'll have my personal attention at every step, not a rotating cast of project managers. He nods once, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Your father mentioned you lack experience. With respect, Mr. Davis, my father lacks information about my business experience. What I lack is unnecessary overhead that would increase your costs. The room falls silent. Then Robert laughs, a genuine sound that breaks the tension. 2 hours later, instead of the planned 45 minutes, the procurement director slides a contract across the table. $460,000 for the first year, with $180,000 upfront for development costs. As I sign my name, a strange question bubbles up in my mind. When Timber and Terra offered a $460,000 contract with $180,000 up front, I wondered if I should contact my family with the news or keep my success private. Would sharing my victory bring satisfaction, or would silence build a stronger foundation? I choose silence for now, focusing instead on the work ahead. That evening, Tessa reviews the contract terms over Thai takeout in my apartment. She circles 3 problematic clauses with her red pen. You need milestone payments, not just the upfront and completion amounts, she says, tapping the paper. And this indemnity clause? Absolutely not. By midnight, we've drafted a revised contract that protects both parties without sacrificing my leverage. When I email it to Timber and Terra the next morning, They accept the changes without argument. For the next week, my developer friends work around the clock, fueled by pizza and energy drinks. We convert my prototype into a production-ready system. Marco handles the back-end integration while Sophia redesigns the interface for Timber and Tara's specific workflow. This is actually going to work, Marco says on the third night, his eyes bloodshot but excited as data flows correctly through our test environment. When the first payment hits my account, I stare at the number on my screen. $180,000. First, I pay off my medical bills and credit card debt. Then I secure proper office space downtown. The remaining funds go directly into expanding development capacity. 2 weeks after signing, news reaches Boulder Creek. A local business paper runs a small article mentioning Morgan tech entrepreneur secures major retail contract. I don't promote it, but neither do I hide from it. My phone remains silent from family calls, but Tessa forwards me an email from a Boulder Creek community newsletter. My father has lost his university position due to budget cuts. The article mentions the unexpected financial strain on the Morgan family. I close the email without comment and return to my code. The foundation I'm building requires focus, not distraction. The past can wait. 4 years later, I will build my own empire without them. My phone buzzes on the conference table, Mother's name flashing across the screen. 4 years of silence broken by a single call. I let it ring 3 times, steadying my breath before answering. Chloe? Her voice carries that familiar artificial brightness. It's been too long, sweetheart. I say nothing, watching the Florida sunset paint my office walls gold. The silence stretches until she fills it. Your father lost his position at the university. She pauses, waiting for my reaction. When none comes, she continues. Budget cuts. You know how these things go. And I've been having these terrible headaches. The doctors found something they need to monitor. I'm sorry to hear that, I respond, my voice neutral. Family helps family, she says, voice dropping to that confessional tone she uses when manipulating. We've been thinking about you lately, wondering how you're doing with your computer hobby. The dismissal still stings, but differently now. I glance at the framed magazine cover on my wall. Retail Revolution, How ArtNest Systems Changed Artisan Distribution. I hope things improve for you both, I say, ending the call before she can respond. 20 minutes later, Olivia calls. Mother's condition is serious, Chloe. Her voice carries that doctor's authority she's perfected. The twins' daycare costs are killing us with Dad's income gone. I wouldn't ask if there were any other option. I watch a cruise ship glide across the bay outside my window. And what exactly are you asking? Don't be difficult, Olivia sighs. You know what I'm asking. Whatever you're doing now, surely you can spare something for family. The word family hits differently now, reminding me of Sunday dinners with Tessa, Luke, and the development team who stood by me when actual blood wouldn't, I'll help us. I tell her, surprising us both. Not because I'm obligated, because I choose to. After the call, I contact my lawyer. By morning, an anonymous trust fund covers their mortgage and medical expenses. The transfer confirmation arrives as I review quarterly projections for ArtNest Systems, now valued at $52 million. 2 weeks later, I sit at my parents' Thanksgiving table, watching Mother place a turkey before Father with practiced deference. The dining room looks smaller than I remember. Same mahogany table. Same china patterns. Different Chloe. The cranberry looks lovely, Karen, says Aunt Patricia, pointedly avoiding eye contact with me despite the fact that my assistant transferred funds to her travel account for this visit. I remain silent throughout dinner, the invisible daughter despite funding the entire meal. My parents discuss Olivia's twins, Father's job prospects, Mother's treatments dancing around the financial mystery that's kept them afloat these past months. When Mother serves pumpkin pie, I reach into my briefcase and remove a manila folder, placing it squarely on the table beside the sugar bowl. What's this? Father asks, the first words he's directed at me all evening. Documentation, I answer, maintaining eye contact as he opens the folder. His face pales as he flips through the pages: bank statements, trust documents, magazine features about ArtNest Systems, and finally, a photo of me accepting the Technology Innovator Award last spring. This is a lie, he whispers, then louder. This is a lie. You, a dropout, couldn't build something like this. The table goes silent. Mother's hand freezes mid-air, coffee pot suspended. ArtNest Systems provides inventory and point-of-sale solutions to over 400 artisan retailers nationwide. I state, my voice calm. We're currently valued at $2 million. I'm the majority shareholder. Father's face reddens. If this were true, why wouldn't you have told us? Why live like this is some kind of gotcha moment? I stand, something shifting as I tower over my seated family for the first time in my life. You don't get to live off someone you consider a disgrace, I say, my voice ice cold. Your comfort has been funded by my failure for 4 years. The mortgage payments, mother's treatments, Olivia's childcare, all paid by the daughter you threw away. Aunt Patricia gasps, coffee spilling onto the tablecloth. We never threw you away, Mother whispers. We wanted what was best. You wanted what matched your vision, I correct her, not what was best for me. Father stands abruptly, chair scraping against hardwood. How dare you come into my house and… Your house? I laugh, the sound brittle. Check the property records. The bank was foreclosing until an anonymous buyer purchased the mortgage. That buyer was me. I close my briefcase, suddenly tired of the whole performance. I'll continue covering medical expenses and basic necessities, not because you deserve it, but because I'm not you. The rumors spread through Boulder Creek within days. At the grocery store, the bank, the holiday festival whispers follow my parents about their financial dependence on their outcast daughter. Old friends suddenly remember business trips when invitations are extended. A week later, I board my private flight back to Florida, watching Colorado disappear beneath the clouds. My phone chimes with a message from Olivia. I was wrong about you. Can we talk? I stare at the text for a long moment, remembering the sister who once called my dreams a phase. My finger hovers over the delete button before I type a single word. When, a year later, the Florida sun streams through the plantation shutters of my Street Petersburg villa, casting golden stripes across the mahogany conference table. My executive team, 75 strong and growing, lean forward as I tap my stylus against the projection screen. The East Coast expansion moves forward next quarter. I announce, gesturing to the PowerPoint slide displaying our 3 newest corporate clients. That's another $12 million in revenue before Christmas. Heads nod. No one questions my authority anymore. 5 years removed from the second-hand blazer and desperate networking events, I stand in tailored linen, featured last month in Business Insider as the retail tech revolutionary who skipped college and built an empire instead. How quickly playing on the computer transforms into visionary when the zeros multiply. The meeting concludes efficiently. As my team disperses, I notice Alicia Warren waiting by the doorway, Yale Business School diploma fresh in hand, resume trembling slightly between her fingers. Something in her posture, shoulders hunched forward, eyes darting, reminds me of myself at 23, desperate for someone to see past my lack of credentials. Miss Morgan, she begins, voice steady despite her nervousness. I know you rarely hire traditional MBA graduates, but… I lift my hand, stopping her mid-sentence. Show me what you've built. Excuse me? Your degree matters less than your determination. I say, settling into a chair and motioning for her to sit. I don't need your GPA. I need to know what you've created when no one was grading you. Her eyes widen, then narrow with purpose. She pulls out her phone, navigating to a side project she developed during her final semester. As she walks me through the logistics application she coded between classes, I see something familiar ignite behind her eyes, the same fire that kept me coding through sleepless nights in that tiny Albuquerque apartment. Email me the details, I tell her. We'll find where you fit. The relief washing across her face mirrors what I felt when Tessa first recognized my potential. The circle completes itself, mentorship, replacing validation as my purpose. Sunday evening brings a different gathering around my dining table. Tessa flies in quarterly from Seattle, her practical wisdom now supplemented by gray streaks in her dark hair. My developer friends, now my executive team, arrive with wine and stories. Luke squeezes my shoulder as he sets down dessert, the tech conference where we met now 3 years behind us. Crystal glasses catch the candlelight as Tessa raises a toast. To the family we choose, not the one we're assigned. The words settle comfortably among us, no longer the defensive mantra they once were. 2 weeks later, I stand before a crowd at our headquarters, launching the Reboot Without Degree Fund for non-traditional founders. The first 500 applications arrived in just 6 weeks, each one a reflection of my former self, people with vision but without the pedigree society demands. When our first grant recipient cries during the Zoom announcement, I remember my own tears, shed alone on apartment floors and public bathroom stalls when the journey seemed impossible. The following Sunday, I sit across from Olivia at a Clearwater Beach cafe. The tension between us has slowly dissolved over monthly phone calls, replaced by something resembling mutual respect. Her Yale Medical School confidence remains, but the condescension has faded. "I was wrong about you," she admits, stirring her iced tea. "About everything." As I watch my sister apologize for the first time in our lives, I wonder if some family bonds should be rebuilt, or if clean breaks are sometimes healthier. Family ties are powerful, but are they always worth preserving when they've been so deeply damaged? What would you do? Rebuild with caution, or focus entirely on the new family you've created? The question lingers as gulls circle overhead and waves break gently against the shore. Perhaps the answer isn't binary. Perhaps it's possible to honor what was broken while celebrating what has been newly built.